starting off with the exterior of the build where all the chaos starts, because that's what happens in this video. It ends up being far too much pink. I'm probably not going to want to see pink for a long time. Anyway, I am moving on to the second floor. It's the same design as the main bit. It's just copied and pasted because it looks great in the end. Anyway, just please trust the process for now. It will look better. It just looks like a couple of boxes put together, but it will look, hopefully it'll look better to you. It looks alright to me, but pink. You can only have so much pink, and I know my favourite colour is pink, but there's only so much you can have. Anyway, moving on, adding the door in was kind of a tough one because I had to use a medium wall height and then use a platform so that it was still kind of like a small wall height. And you may be wondering why. That is because I do not really like medium wall heights. It's just because if I'm adding a cabinet into the kitchen, it doesn't look right. There's like a little gap between the ceiling and the cabinet itself. We have that in my house, but on the Sims 4 it doesn't look as great for some unknown reason. Anyway, moving on, I start going on to the walls. I use the horse ranch walls. I did try with the brick and the pink and it didn't work, so yeah, I just used the horse ranch pink because it was the closest to the Strangerville door. So now on to the windows. I start trying to use the base game ones with the shutters. I did use the smaller ones on the top and the larger ones on the bottom. You will see when I get to the little bump out windows that it does change because it doesn't look right in my eyes. There's no pink shutters, which is kind of really pissy, considering there's all of the other colours. There's like red ones for some reason. There's no pink, which is stupid. Anyway, here you can see that I did try with the shutter windows from the cottage living pack. It did not work. I used a smaller crisscross pattern instead, and you also did see a small glimpse of the windows changing. They did change to the Love Struck windows because they looked better in my eyes. I hope they look better to you. Hopefully it'll look better in a minute when it gets a landscaping in there. I use the wood flooring that you see. I can't remember whether I said it already. Anyway, I use it everywhere other than the upstairs. The upstairs gets carpet because it's the upstairs. That's what happens in a normal British house, so I'm just used to that. This is kind of branching out to me. So, unfortunately, I didn't use brick. I just used what I'm used to growing up with when I build these things. So anyway, moving on to the inside, I start with the getting together stairs, which are the white ones. They are wood because the downstairs floor is wood anyway, so I figured it may as well match. I wish that there were stairs which were carpet because it does look better sometimes, especially in quite a lot of British houses. There are a lot of carpet stairs, which if you do live in the UK, you will hopefully notice. It's normally in the older houses though, the much more smaller ones. I know in the newer houses there are wood stairs and sometimes it's a bit weird. In our house, my house that I live in is like from the 1930s. It's hella old. It has red carpet in it. It doesn't match anything because we have yellow hallways. I've got a yellow room up here, which eventually I will show you. Just I need time. I never know when it will be. Anyway, now moving into the hallway and as you enter in, more of an entryway, but it's also a hallway because there's doors everywhere. Anyway, I did try with the for rent doormat. It didn't work, which you will see. I did try multiple floor mats, and I did go to the pastel pop mat instead, which goes in the middle of the floor. It is in pink. And it also looks like a cookie, believe it or not. There are many rugs in the pastel pop kit that do look like a cookie, but this one looks mostly like a cookie. Moving on to decorations in this room, I do understand that is cheating, and there was no white swatches or pink swatches. However, I used the base game shoe rack, and I did not cheat on, well, I kind of did because it's white, but anyway, I used the white coat rack for more decoration. Moving on to the wall decorations, I use the tiny living picture in the cupcake because it's got pink in it, and I also use a pink photo in the, well, from the book nook kit, because I think it looks really cool. Moving on, we now add a little shelf which also ties in as a mirror. It is also from the pastel pop kit. There's quite a bit of pastel pop kit that happens in this build because there is a lot of pink in the pastel pop kit, believe it or not. This pastel pop kit for some reason is a tongue twister to me, so I do apologise. Anyway, moving on to the living room again, we have to make the filters go back to pink because some reason it changes back when you type, so it gets a bit annoying. So there is a lot of filter changes. I used the high school years, I believe it's either high school years or university lighting for the ceiling in this living room. I did mess around with curtains, but in the end I used the base game ones, which are like a little curvy thingy. I did try with many curtains. It took a while. See, you can hear them. You can see them now, and I also used the entrance table from Pastel Pop Kit as well. There is way too much Pastel Pop Kit in this. And then as well, there's the Pastel Pop Kit wallpaper. Now I am using a base game sofa. It looks really pink, and I thought it would kind of match with all the pink that's going on. It's kind of a similar colour to the background pink in the pastel pop kit. I know it's like a bit off. I also mess around with the tables, and I do eventually use the one again from the pastel pop kit because it looks again similar to all of the pinks in the living room, other than the table, because obviously the table is hot pink, although it did look great. I used a pink lamp, and then I did get some rocks from the spa day, and I thought it looked really great as soon as I accidentally put it on the lamp. Accidents happen for a reason. For some reason it looked really cool. I don't know why, but it just did. Anyway, I also used the pastel pop kit rug and the high school years sort of like homemade coffee table, and I also used plants which I believe are from Tiny Living. Shout at me if I'm wrong, I do apologise. Moving on to the kitchen and dining room, it did take me a while to work out, but I did use the base game pink fridge and also the modern base game counters. You do see that there's an island there. I used the pink and white swatch in the counters because I thought the fully pink swatch could be a bit too much. Again, I do know that all the pinks don't match, and it's kind of a bit annoying, and I know I'm also cheating again, and I do apologise, with the chairs on the counters, the island counters, which I do apologise for, but the pinks, not all of them go together. I did also use the lighting from the Dream Home Decorator kit because it looked really nice, especially with the build. Moving on now, I am adding the oven. It did take a while to work out the oven, but I did use that oven, and I also used a base game sink, which again is white, and off camera I added a microwave and a few other little decorations. I figured that it might be a bit boring that on camera that they would be there, so they were just off camera. And I also used the tiles from the spa day kit, which again are in white, but I needed a contrast colour because it looked better. So white was probably the best option to go for because I don't want to use any actual colour, and I know white is technically classed as a shade, but in other cases is not. Moving on to the dining area, I did use pink chairs for this, which I believe is from the Parenthood pack, and I also used a white base game table, and I believe it's a Dream Home Decorator picture. It does say it's a pink swatch. It doesn't really look pink, although by one bit. And I also used another cookie rug from the Pastel Pop kit, and I put a pink entry table right near the window at the front of the kitchen. Onto the hallway on the top, on the upstairs. I did that off camera because it would just be boring. This video would be quite long, and you will see the final build in the end, at the end obviously. And here you can also see that I used Dream Home Decorator lights again. It does have a bit of blue in it, but all of the others I did check and they don't all have pink in them, so it's a bit unfortunate, but that's how it works. Here you can see that I used the Pastel Pop double bed, and I also used the University Pack side tables. There are two types of wallpaper that I used. They are both, I believe, from Pastel Pop Kit. One is lighter than the other because I wanted to give it a little bit of contrast. And I also used the Horse Ranch paint. No, I didn't. I was going to use the Horse Ranch painting, but I did use the Tiny Living paintings instead because I figured that they'd look better. The Horse Ranch painting was quite small, so there was a better way of doing it. There was a much more nicer way of doing it, so that's why I used the Tiny Living paintings. Moving on, again the same curtains as downstairs, nothing too fancy. I used the Dream Home Decorator dresser, and I put all the clutter on off camera again because again it'd be boring. And I also used the pink rug from the Lovestruck kit. Moving on to the kids room, I used a pink cloud, which is from the base game, and the Kinder Made rug, which is also from base game. And that is it for the video today. If you did not know already, I do have a shorts, but also I have a TikTok. If you want to check them both out, please feel free. They're both Bored Dave Plays because that's what's on the channel. And why is there a point of changing it? Anyway, I do apologise that there is a lack of uploads from this week. I have been for the past couple of weeks posting every single day, but there was no time for this week because obviously just pre-recording, making sure everything's done, so then I can go on holiday and you can have a consistent uploading schedule, because I know we all want that. Anyway, I hope you enjoy this build. If you like the video, please give it a like. If you enjoy the content, please subscribe. And if you want to leave any comment for suggestions, please feel free. And I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.